friends, this session, first I would like to thank Landesa and ILDC for this very interesting session about the world's West Bengal. And historically, we know West Bengal and Kerala for a very different reason of successful land reforms in the past. But how land administration is reforming in the recent past, and especially the whole experiment which was started by Landesa. And I have a very interesting figure here that under the partnership of Landesa, Gram, Neogen Team and the government of West Bengal, they have reached out to close to 1.2 million women who are in different parts of West Bengal and who are doing very well. And they were the ones who actually, from on behalf of Landesa, they got the training, they got the support, how to work with the local administration department and to reform the land administration with a community perspective. So there is a very interesting case study, and West Bengal is known for that. So definitely we are going to listen from all together about this whole experiment. And I'm very happy to say that the Landesa is successfully operating more than 300 Sakha facilitation centers across different parts of West Bengal. And they are the ones who become like a nodal agency, a community-led institution, which actually trying to help with the local land administration and reforming the whole land model there. Why it's important? Because whenever we talk about the land administration, the key word for all of us, whosoever is working on the land issue or the land rights, the justice part is very important. And unfortunately, if you look at the whole colonial model of the land administration system, the justice component is missing, seriously missing. And that's how this figure keep coming in all different forms, how many number of cases are pending in different courts, the land conflict, etc. So that's how this model is extremely important to resolve the land conflict at the basic level itself and to move forward with a progressive mode of land administration. So precisely in this session, Shipra, Pinaki and Mete is going to speak about some ground learning and ground experiences, how they actually operate this whole model and what are the successes they have achieved over the past 8 years. This also is important to how to visualize the futuristic land administration in a way like more responsive, more just, more approachable, more sensitive to the people who are living on the ground and who have facing the issues. And how to actually take the lessons of West Bengal to the other states, and that's how some of the speakers is definitely going to tell us about the key takeaway, how we can take all these methods to the other states. जो हिंदी में समझ सकते हैं उनके लिए मैं जस्ट 1 मिनट में कह देता हूँ कि वेस्ट बंगाल जो है हम सब जानते हैं हिस्टोरिकली जो भी लैंड रिफॉर्म्स हुआ भारत में उसके लिए चैंपियन स्टेट रहा है केरला और वेस्ट बंगाल दोनों। वेस्ट बंगाल के लैंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में पिछले सालों में काफ़ी सारे चेंजेस आए, लेकिन जब भी हम लैंड एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की बात करते हैं तो हमारे दिमाग में सबसे पहले आता है सामाजिक न्याय, सोशल जस्टिस, कि लोगों को जस्टिस मिल रहा है कि नहीं मिल रहा है। मैं विशेष तौर पर लैंडेसा को, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ वेस्ट बंगाल को धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ कि वहाँ 300 से ज़्यादा सब फैसिलिटेशन सेंटर्स चला रहे हैं, जिसके माध्यम से लैंड लिटरेसी का एक बहुत बड़ा प्रोग्राम जो है वो लोगों ने चलाया है। तो इसके पूरे के एक्सपीरियंसेस और लर्निंग क्या रहे उसके बारे में हम लोग इस सेशन में बात करेंगे। और मैं जरूर चाहूँगा कि हमारे सभी पैनलिस्ट से कि थोड़ा हम लोग QA के लिए जरूर रखें, क्योंकि काफ़ी इंटरेक्टिव सेशन है तो इसलिए हमारे पास उसका जो है स्पेस होना चाहिए। So without any further delay, I would like to invite Shipra. She is the one who actually leading the whole process, and she is the leader of Landesa, to tell us about how this model is actually functioning on the ground, and what are the core features of this particular model. Yeah, yeah. So that everyone can see it. So Shipra, over to you. Sure. 7 to 8 minutes.
हाँ, मैं जल्दी करने की कोशिश करूँगी, उससे देर हो तो आपके साइड। तो मुझे लगता है कि it all began somewhere around 2011 when West Bengal government came with a program called Nijo Gano Nijo Bhumi. As part of that program, they distributed land titles with support of Landesa to several women in West Bengal. And what happened when these women received land titles? There was a question about how do these women know the importance of land and the importance of the paper that they are getting as land certificate. That's when the idea of providing land literacy to those women who are receiving newer parcels of land came in. And Pinaki is my colleague MP has been the one who has been leading all these initiatives. That's when we began land literacy classes or sessions with these women. And eventually, it appeared to be so beneficial that we started thinking about how it can be scaled at a bigger level and how this land literacy can go to more women. That is when we had this idea of collaborating with State Rural Livelihood Mission. State Rural Livelihood Mission, as many of you would know, are the bodies at the state level where millions of women who assemble together as self-help groups, they come under one umbrella. In West Bengal, nearly 12 million women are part of these of the West Bengal State Rural Livelihood Mission. And then we designed a cascading approach of providing trainings to these women. By cascading approach, I mean that at the state level, at the state level, we created, along with State Rural Livelihood Mission and the Revenue Department, we created a pool of trainers who acted as the state level master trainers. Then these state level master trainers, along with Landisa, created a pool of district level master trainers, and then that cadre of trainers provided training to the block level master trainers, and eventually each block level trainer conducted training sessions of women in batches of 30 women each. And in these land literacy sessions, what we teach generally speaking, is about the classification of land, what the land governance system looks like, what are the important papers that one should have, like record of rights and etc. And where one needs to go if there is a challenge related to that. All of these things are being taught, and the training module has been designed in collaboration with the Revenue Department in the state. Then somewhere around 2020,
Just to link to that, देखते हुए दिक्कत हो रहा है, लैपटॉप को शिफ्ट करना है, लैपटॉप शिफ्ट करना है, प्लीज। आपका पीपीटी दे दीजिए, just get your PPT.
Blinking.
Because it's blinking.
इसको आप
Just give her the
Just PPT, just get the PPT.
give the design to her. Give the presentation.
There's some problem with the laptop.
तो मुझे लगता है एकदम इन टाइम में कंटिन्यू
Right. And if you want, I just prefer to ask one very brief question, very pinpointed question. Why you decided to work with the State Rural Livelihood Mission? Why only SRLM only?
Yeah, because SRLM had a big reach with women, and SRLM is all about women's empowerment and livelihood. So we had meetings with SRLMs, and they got interested. They got interested in the idea. They realized that yes, it's important aspect to work. So therefore they collaborated, and that collaboration is, I think, at the key of this entire model. And yes, after the land literacy, I was at a very interesting juncture. What happened in around 2020 was that when these millions of women were getting land literacy, when they were getting aware about land related issues, they started coming in huge numbers with a lot of challenges that they are facing related to land in their own lives and in their households. And they started kind of clogging around in the revenue offices to seek solutions as to what to do and what not to do. That is when our colleagues came with this idea of why can't these women themselves provide these services? Because a lot of these land-related services by then had become online. So it was only about getting literate and getting aware of land-related services and how to operate the online system. And then we pitched this idea with the revenue department and SRLM there. We prepared notes, had a lot of discussions about the operational systems, etc. And once again, SRLM and revenue department both showed up. And we, in the first phase, we decided to pilot 6 facilitation centers. And in these 6 facilitation centers, what we did was, we identified women, rather, we did not identify women, it's women themselves, women's federations themselves identified who would be the best women from them, who can learn these things, these provisions of online services, etc. And so they came in batches, we provided them the training, the revenue department once again collaborated with us, and we started providing those services through these women, these online services. And the centers which they opened, these were called Sangha Facilitation Centers. So in the first phase, there were 6 Sangha Facilitation Centers. They all did very well. Everyone got encouraged that these women are providing services. And they started providing services on a payment basis. So the government revenue department has decided some fee for each and every services that these women provide. There is a service for visitation, for application of inheritance, for correction of land records, etc., etc. And all of these are provided on a payment basis. So in the first phase, we had these 6 centers which were running. Next, we expanded that to 40, then 200, and today there are nearly 300 Sangha facilitation centers which are working across West Bengal. I think nearly 1 in each block is there, and all of these are providing these services online to people. And I think I will stop here, and I will now turn to
Yeah, definitely.
if you have some questions.
Yeah, but before you just tell which kind of services, because you use the word services, you are providing services. So can you just elaborate which kind of services you are providing?
Yeah, these services are, for example, if someone has to get the mutation of their land, and that service is provided. Then someone
For mutation, what service? Because for
Online
extension of
application.
mutation, one has to project himself or herself. So whether it is every other mutation or just what service actually they are doing?
application of mutation.
Application of mutation. So they are writing for them and submitting the
My
patwari.
working Navti and Maitrey are working more on ground.
Thank you, sir.
They will elaborate very fast.
Okay.
So I will provide the
They will
elaboration.
elaborate.
But that is very important so that we know how government,
Yes,
because
yes,
how does it integrate with the legal procedures.
yes.
Sir.
Yeah, so Maitrey, can you just elaborate that which kind of services? You can just kind of.
So yes, in the Shambho, there are secretary, president, board members are present, and for the Shambho runs the SFC, and there the key person are the service provider. There are 2 number of service providers are there, and the community people come to the SFC and avail the land related document updation services with a minimal cost that is allocated earlier from the government. So the service providers provided the application services regarding on ROR, that is record of rights or CIAN, plot information, khazna or land revenue application, mutation and waris mutation, and for conversion cases. So these 6 services they are providing by online. One portal was there, that is in West Bengal called banglabhumi.gov.in. In that portal, they applied those applications for providing the service to the seekers.
But that service probably must be available in any internet cafe or common service centers also. Because the government of Bengal must have provided this portal for public to use. So, person probably can himself or herself also enter the information, or can go to any computer operator and he will do for them.
Yeah.
Is it so?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
So the what Sangha is adding actually, which person cannot go and to the street vendor and come to Sangha.
I will come to
Yeah,
that.
sir, we have 2 specific presentations. Yeah, please.
Okay. So basically, in the pool system, there are 2 aspects. That one is the service provider, one is the service seekers came over the SFC to avail the services with the minimum cost, and on the other hand, the service providers also get some remuneration for this as a service charge. So that leads to the income generation or economic development of that woman as well as a whole empowerment. So I would like to share some stories that about 1 month ago I visited one Sangha, and there the service provider told me that earlier her son used to be known by his father's name in their locality. But now her son is known by his mother's name too. So this is a achievement for that lady, that service provider. And the another one story is the neighbor of the service providers. Maximum of the service providers said this, that the neighbors did not believe that women can do these land related services. They thought that they are not capable of it. But whenever the woman completed whole the mutation procedure and handed over the ROR to that person, then that person told the service provider that no, I am wrong, I was wrong. You are capable of it and you can do this service. And in some Shanghas, there are some old cases was there that which were not being solved at all for many years. So the women took it as a challenge and applied those mutation cases. So finally they solved the issues, and some of the service providers said that they can support their children's education now because they are financially stable now, and they are by own self, for herself, they are starting now and completing their bachelor's degree. And earlier what happened that women have a fear to visit those government offices. But for this service, they have to visit the block land and land reform office in sometimes. So now they can go to the block land and land reform offices fearlessly, and also it is a very positive thing that the officials of that office also known the service providers too. So these are the stories from the ground, and of course one thing has changed, that women says that in their household the decision making power of them has increased. So that's all from my side. I would like to request sir to
Yeah,
share.
thanks. Thanks, Mary. And Pinaki, if you you allow me, I would like to ask you because we have curiosity about how the facilitation center is actually working. So if you can give us a kind of an idea about before and after scenario, then it's easy for all of us to understand that how this facilitation center is actually helpful for the women on the ground. So over to you.
Thank you, Ramesh. And I will pick up the thread of discussion from where Dr. Sudhanshu actually downstairs. We were hearing him, and he mentioned two things. One is there are not very many people who are knowledgeable on land, and even if there are some people who know land, they are not spreading the message. They are not giving some knowledge back to the community. So, and coming to this sir's question, that why they should be coming. Yes, first of all, the government has created a web-based portal, all the states in the country, the digital. And second was, again, if the reference goes to Dr. Sudhanshu, after the Women Land Literacy campaign was initiated in 2016, 2017. So, large number of women, they became land literate. They came to know what is land all about, and how does the land ownership change, what is mutation, what is the change in classification, what is record correction, where to go, who provides service, what is the hierarchy and inheritance laws mostly. So these are the 6-7 components. A module was developed, and that was co-owned by the government, the SRLM, Landesa, and the Revenue Department. Most importantly, the Additional Chief Secretary, he reviewed and he said, yes, this is a good module for community knowledge and community awareness generation. So that way, community through, because women already know why we are working for women, I am not getting into that, but when women came in hundreds and thousands in number, so they naturally were, after going back, they were searching for the record of right. Where is our record of right? Where is the title document? What does it write and what does it say? So they started actually educating the family also, because hardly the men also, and I'm in full agreement with Dr. Sudhanshu's statement, men folk also, they have just surrendered to their destiny or to the middleman. So I give them 5,000 rupees, he will do all the job on behalf of me. So that was the challenge. And 2019, Dr. Sudhanshu entrusted Landesa with the task, Digital India Land Records Modernization Program assessment. What was the main point of assessment? There are services, computer-based services offered for the community. What actually prevents the community to access the services? And what are the best possible modules to serve the community, to cater to the community need of land record? So we undertook 4 states, Assam, West Bengal, Karnataka and Sikkim. Assam, due to some challenges, we could not complete, but West Bengal, Sikkim and Karnataka, everywhere the challenges were identified. All the states were having fully equipped land service portal, but the access was not available. Access was actually not working because of 2 things: computer literacy at the rural level. They do not know how to apply, where to go, how to access the portal. And second was that people are literate, but people are illiterate about that. They do not know about, they don't want to learn. But everybody wants to have the service. So there was a huge demand. One important finding for 3 states, 46 to 49% community members, they reported the survey sample that the record was undated. Undated means father or the grandfather was owning the land, it has not, now the family has broken, this inheritance has not been applied, and there were various government schemes. Prime Minister Kishan Yojana, and every state government came up with some scheme. They were not able to access the benefit of the scheme without having an updated record. So that was the service need, that was also identified. Then Landesa actually approached the SRLM, land literacy was happening, and fortunately, good women, they are literate, they can handle the Google, they can send mobile, they can access the mobile and little bit of computer. They came forward. Everybody can do it, why cannot we do it? For the sake of our one Sangha means 250 self-help groups on an average. 2,500 households, one woman from each and every household, and that was surveyed by the Sangha. More than 50% reports are undated. Initially, they collected the data, so there was a need, and the problem was identified. Then solution, when we went back to the community, 93% community members said that we want a referral system positioned in our village, and preferably that should be run by these trained women. That was the solution provided from the by the community, and we accepted. And we submitted the report to the academy, CRS, and also to the government. Government again had a meeting involving Mandesa, SRLM, top officials, additional chief secretary. They agreed, and said, do it. We started as a pilot, and ultimately from pilot to and now 42 lakh women are land literate in West Bengal. 42 lakhs. This is government figure. Anybody can visit the SRLM portal. Every training event is provided with GPS mapping and GPS data, and also the picture where the training is held with two pictures starting and ending. So that actually government has spent 15 crores, 15 crores over the last 6 years for this land literacy and also Sangha center. It is government. Land literacy is not spending a single money. Only we are our salary etc. and travel little bit and is spending. That way the service delivery system was actually piloted, and then we went for scaling after learning from the pilots were again incorporated in the scaling model. Government said we are open to it. Now the gender gap in the revenue administration. So revenue administration, the secretary, principal secretary, additional secretary, everybody is okay. But at ground level there was an inhibition. Women can do it, women cannot do it. There was some preaching, negative teaching, etc. So that was also countered, because when women really, and somebody asked, Manjari was telling, no, this is a fake document. Somebody just spread the rumor, whatever they are producing, they are coming up with computer digital label, there is a fake document. But the revenue department certified no, this is a genuine document. So that way the community trust factor. Confidence and trust between the community and service providers, and confidence building, confidence from the service provider side, women, yes, I can do it, properly training, proper capacity development, and ecosystem development, where revenue department, SRLM, and block administration, district administration, and Landesa, they are working together. Every month review meeting. Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Vinay. I mean, it's a wonderful, we would love to listen to you for another few minutes, but we have a condition of time. So, Sudhanshu sir, now I would like to come to you, because West Bengal actually shows us some way that how the community-led institution can also reform the land administration system. And it's like a win-win situation for both sides, from the community's perspective as well as from the land administration perspective. So what are the possibilities to learn and expand the West Bengal experiences to the other states? I mean, you are the part of Yashoda, which is actually leading a lot of very interesting process. And so can you just tell us about the possibilities to replicate this model?
This is a very good example of community coming together with administration, especially in land. As I was telling, land is a very complex subject. People don't understand it, and those who understand it don't talk. So that's an issue, but this is one of the rarest examples I have seen where in other states also we have examples of self-help groups, women self-help groups being given activities from the government side. For example, in Maharashtra also we have the meaning the facilitation centers. Some of it has been given. Many other activities have been given specifically to self-help groups, women self-help. But this involves a lot of, not only the decision that these facilitation centers will be given to them, but also the training part. And training part is very important because as a department, Anand speaks from the department perspective, department, especially land department, is not open to training, not only to outsiders, but also to insiders. I mean, you ask any government department land record, and we have been, in Yashoda, we have been working for the Department of Land Resources for compiling the revenue terms of the entire country so that whatever is spoken of a revenue or an issue in revenue in Bihar, what is the equivalent or similar term in Maharashtra, in Tamil Nadu? So that is a huge work we are doing. And one of the important challenges that we face is to find one person in the entire state who can be trusted with the knowledge that he can tell us the details of the words, revenue related words from that state. It's so difficult. And to give the training, to have the training structure within the department itself is a different thing. It may be slightly on the technical side, but I must tell you that most of the states, revenue department and land records department, they are two separate departments. They don't talk to each other. So the revenue department says that we are above in hierarchy compared to the land records department, and I mean we are your bosses, isn't it? There is no training department inside revenue department in most of the states. Forget about land record department. So if you do not have a training structure for your own staff within the organization, how can you expect that you will have a training to citizens? So that's a challenge. We in Maharashtra have been doing this. We have a training institution specifically dedicated to revenue and land records. But more importantly, as we all access the land record websites from the state, and we find it very difficult to go to a record which is relevance to us, isn't it? Because the design of our websites, the things that you want to show, it's totally from the side of a provider. Nobody who is asking the question that give me the data, we want this kind of data in this particular format. Who is asking this question? Nobody is asking this question. Today, who is putting the pressure on the government to disclose the data in a specific format, in an easy format? Nobody is asking this question. Why nobody is asking this question? Because people don't understand. Why do they don't understand? Because we don't have that critical mass of that information about land and its processes that will trigger that kind of awareness among the citizens, and that will trigger that kind of question coming from them. Another issue which I want to touch upon here, and I have seen Maharashtra, working in Maharashtra, I have seen Bihar and Jharkhand because they come from Bihar. User charges. It's a very insignificant, maybe unrelated. It seems unrelated, but I tell you, it has a huge relationship with what people demand. The moment you put charge on any service, like we do, we earn in Maharashtra, we earn hundreds of crores by selling the data to public. If you want to have a digitally signed property card, digitally signed rural ROR, you have to give 15 rupees. For property card, you have to pay 45 rupees. The moment you start paying, obviously we will earn. But the moment you start paying, you start demanding. In most of the states, what we have is free services. These are all free services. The moment you give free services, nobody will demand. They will all expect a freebie kind of thing from the government, and nobody will have courage to go and say that I have paid 15 rupees, I have paid 45 rupees, you better give a service. No feedback system in the website that we have in state. We in Maharashtra have not 24/7, but in the working hours, helpline number, feedback on the website also. If I am not getting a kind of service, and these are not service related issues with respect to land related services. If you don't get service, you are free to approach us, where you will get some kind of impression. That trust, as of now, is missing from the side of government. I think it is required that not only from within the government, but from outside the government, we have enough pressure on the government to at least take a big part of land administration out of government. Today we have a structure, we have a mediation law in place now, 2023. In the disputes relating to land, do we involve people? We do not. Why? Because we assume that whatever is to be resolved has to be resolved as per the record which is existing with the revenue department. And who is the custodian of the record? The revenue department. So I will decide on a case which is being fought between two people, and the basis on which I will decide is based on the record which I own. So you don't have any say in the dispute, isn't it? However, I think there is a change which is going to happen. For example, a boundary dispute. We have a boundary. Suppose we are all neighbors, and I have land parcel next to you. Over a period of time, our boundaries have shifted. It's very natural, isn't it? Both of us are engaged in agriculture. Okay? We shift boundaries naturally. There is no dispute. But in the record that we have in the land record department, the map, boundaries is still what it was when it was surveyed. Right? Now, both of us are very happy, there is no issue. And both of us now, in the next generation, we give our land to our children. The same understanding is not there. Now they start fighting. And they fight and go to the government, ask for its resolution. How will the government resolve? Government will resolve based on the old record. Even though it was very peaceful for 15, 20, 50 years. Is it possible that if we both of us agree, and we have no issue, both of us agree that my boundary should be changed based on our agreement, why should not it be done? Why should not it be an obligation on part of the government to change this as per the agreement between not only two parties, several parties? So I think this is how will this happen? This has to happen. This will happen through mediation. Till now there was no framework. Now 2023 mediation law, government of India has passed. I think there is a framework where we should start involving people in core revenue matters. We always feel that dispute is something where people cannot be involved, communities cannot be involved. Communities can be involved, people who are owners and stakeholders can be involved. I think this is what, from the administration side, is an opportunity for all of us.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So, sir, I would like to come to you, Roy sir, and you're a founder of Sigma Foundation. And same question to you also, because there's a lot of very interesting learning from the West Bengal model, as well as I really like this whole Maharashtra model too. And these are the models which actually trying to reform the land administration with a community perspective, with a more community involvement. And the more important factor which I find in both cases studies is the alignment. How this whole experiment, whether it is a Maharashtra or whether it is West Bengal, is actually aligned with the other line departments and trying to change the whole shape of the land administration and to bring the whole justice component and the trust on the land administration, on the land revenue department per se. So I would like to listen from you about the whole potential for other states too.
Let me start with the saying that as a service unit, we understand that which are regulatory services. Government has to regulate everything, we can develop the services.
Let's shift here so that other states also see.
Land has always been a regulatory domain of the state. They have to control, they have to improve their internal strength to control others. It was never community oriented. And only the community orientation started coming when it was digitized. That opened up everything. Because accessing land recordation services in the public domain, that means the land office in the block level, is a huge problem. We will end up paying some touts. Actually, all these government fees are nominal. For a 50 rupees that government charge, somebody will extract 5,000 from you to mediate with the system. So the digitization has brought this down, but still that level of middleman's influence and cutting everything has not ended. So what this experiment in West Bengal has achieved, that now women, after knowing that yes, we know what land is and my right is, I should also access my record. Then the land facilitation center, one point was not clear, the question came. Actually, these services are not a duplication of government services. Land services can be given only by government, who the record. Mutation cannot be done by the facilitation center. They can only facilitate, only to cut down the middleman who stops everything. And women will not dare to go to that office. Then really they are not entertained. So after the women got trained, they were found it more comfortable to go to a women of the same village and ask for, I have this problem. And initially the experience, the relation is very clear. We evaluated this entire thing, and then we started doing something for the tribal women also. It's another story. So initially they used to come with their husband, because after these is a women who had trained, not the male member. So they talked to the family and things happened. Some of them got confused. Then the lack of confidence, the women is to come with the men and get inquired what it is. But ultimately they have got their credential established. Now any women can, without going to the government land revenue department, they come to the land facilitation center, and whatever work they have to do in the government, because conversion, mutation has to go to the government, or if there is a measurement needed, has to be done by LR official. That mediation done by these two service providers, who are now enough oriented, enough confident, and know the entire thing, how to sort out this thing. Another point has not come in. Not only does the government get approval, one big blockade was the land revenue official at the block level, who stops everything or discriminately provides depending on the money. Is the economic department, almost in all states. So what happened? So these services now, once they know that this is all this thing, they go and get it extracted, and people are confident that it is much cheaper. In fact, we have reviewed the whole program, the reform and evaluation. Many cases the cost the women was paying to get their recordation done or mutation done or conversion done would be around 1/10 of what would have incurred when they used to go to the straight to the land office and get a middleman. The other problem is that many of them, knowing that there is a land related problem, my forefather purchased something, they resign that it cannot be done, they keep the land and I am not getting evicted. So they were living with a risk that I do not have adequate rent record, I have only occupation. Now the transformation is that your occupation is getting legalized by this document once you improve the service access. So that is exactly what land has brought in through all these things. Is it clear with the answer? Now your question was how to get it done in other states. See, we have learned already the core provider is the land and revenue department. If it is a two different department, the problem is only more. Fortunately, West Bengal is the same department. So they have to be first ready that yes, I want to open it up. Let people access land records, let people have their land record updated, and it's huge implication in agriculture financing. In many other law and order issues, if land records are clear, many other administrative things are sorted out very easily. Okay, so given that, first the L&R department has to be convinced and they have paid about 15 crore for these things. We have only facilitated that Desha or Gambia and Province Foundation. We have not done much. Second, the land reform department does not have that much of strength on the ground except a small office. But the SHG movement, in fact, West Bengal, every Gram Panchayat has a strong founder. It's a cluster. So these clusters do provide many services that they can provide services to the women or the people of the village as a land service recordation provider, and in the process get the livelihood of two of their members on a regular basis. They have regular income. So it serves a greater purpose of providing land recordation services, and then a very important small purpose of giving livelihood to two women who provide this service and mediate with the L&R department and get things done when they need to visit. When someone has to go to the office for doing something which requires presence, then they take them. The other critical point, the commitment of the department, at the district level there are meetings with the land revenue offices and the Gandesha and the concerned department. They are oriented, the land revenue officers, they are oriented why you should come forward and give them a priority of giving service than your town there. In fact, now we have done further that to be more expanded in tribal areas which is facing more challenges. They are also using the service of the labs, large scale agriculture market societies. So issue is you need to have that L&R department who is the core decision maker of the land, and as a carrier or as a facilitator, you need another department where the reach, maybe a self-help group department, the SRLM program, or in some cases, a tribal welfare department who is leading the movement for tribal women. Because now tribal land literacy is becoming an issue, is much more challenging. Much more challenging. We don't have time to discuss that, but that department is owning it, and the department is spending it. So you need these things and have a some vehicle like the vehicle, Sangha. Then and some good NGOs who can change the issue.
Thank you, sir. I mean, it's a wonderful to listen that how the revenue department is also aligned with the livelihoods, state rural livelihood question, and that was precisely my question, that why you decided to choose.
And orientation right of the block land and there is officers and the revenue
Right.
officer, that is very critical.
Right.
And the higher level is very to convince people they excel are motivated. Like,
Right.
but to motivate all the people who are revenue officers
Right.
is a much bigger challenge.
Right, thank you. So, I would like to open the session for at least maybe 3 or 4 questions maximum, and then if your question is directly comes to the panelists, then it's easy. Don't ask the general question that I would like to listen from all the police speakers kind of thing. So, over to you, and if you have any specific question, you can raise your hand and please ask the question to the president.
My question is like you're spending so much,
Little loud.
you're spending a lot of effort working in rural areas of West Bengal. The same problem happens also in the urban areas, especially with lots of art migration. Like myself, I moved to the US, but my parents are behind. And many of my uncles, my father's colleagues, they pass away. And then it's only the aunties who are there. They have no idea of how to access their land records or anything. And we have to completely dependent on go to the corporation and there is that person and you have to pay him so many thousands of rupees or whatever, and that's exactly what you are trying to solve. But it's happening also in urban areas.
Yeah, what part
So-
answer from the additional secretary that they are trying to do the urban land recordation also, the up-to-date digitization. Actually, if you think of last 10 years or so, the country has advanced a lot through digital services. It started first in the government of India, income tax and other department, moved to the state government, going to local government is much more digital. And all these things are in the corporation, the municipalities, they are much tougher than making a change in the state level. So it's that order exactly. Center did the digitization fast and provided all services easily. Income tax was the L in the 20 years ago. Then came the state government, some of the states did it fast, some of the states came little later. But digitization and service provision on online mode at the local government level is much more tough. I wish it happened very fast. He gave a timeline of 2
Yeah,
years.
Vijay.
ये कम उड़ीसा में देखा जाए कि किसी कोई गांव नहीं है जहाँ पे सिविल केसेस
किससे पूछ रहे हैं सर से?
वेस्ट बंगाल जो
बिना
हाँ, उड़ीसा में ऐसे कोई गांव नहीं है जहाँ पे सिविल केसेस नहीं है। तो बंगाल में क्या जुडिशियरी सिस्टम है कि सिविल केसेस को रिजल्व करने के लिए क्या है कैसे
Land related cases.
उसको
कैसे
कैसे उसको सोल्यूशन क्या है?
सिस्टम एक ही है।
हाँ।
जैसे आपका रेवेन्यू कोर्ट है तहसील में,
हाँ।
उसका
तो
ऊपर
उसका क्या
सब डिविजन लेवल कोर्ट है, जो सब डिविजन ऑफिसर इज आल्सो रेवेन्यू ऑफिसर इन हिज कैपेसिटी।
So his question is there your approach is also linked with the court case?
नो कोर्ट केसेस इस माने केवल कोर्ट ही का ऊपर छोड़ देते हैं, क्योंकि हमारा उसका ऊपर कोई प्रभाव नहीं है।
If you are interested, the Bihar Gram Kachari system is the best in the country. Many people are not aware even. They decide on civil and criminal cases up to a certain limit.
न्याय पंचायत।
They got Gram Kachari.
Yeah. Is there any
They
specific question to Magri or
I think
Shifra
it will be knowing,
or?
but we have evaluated Bihar first.
And very short answer to your question, excepting the municipal corporations, all urban local bodies, because I was also deputy secretary urban government. So all urban local bodies are governed by the same tehsildar, whatever jurisdiction is there, excepting municipal corporation. Municipal corporation के लिए separate act है, लेकिन urban local bodies के लिए revenue officer will be the same who is in charge of the tehsil. So the same service, I can as a service provider, I can provide service to you, but not for corporation.
If there's no other question to the panelists? So, Shikha, I would like to know that what is in your mind, what is the next level of this whole experiment? Because you have 300 plus facilitation center, you have lakhs of women who are trained, and the whole process is going on. So, are you still okay with the West Bengal thing, or you have any other dreams in West Bengal itself or in the other states?
I think, one part of this entire model that we have been discussing is the services which are being provided by. But I think there is another dimension to it, which appears to be more beautiful to me, which is, I would say, engineering of the entire land governance ecosystem in this country. From where I come, I think about land rights of women and what's the connection of women with that. And I go to places where even the revenue officials in UP, Bihar, they are like, औरत और जमीन को क्या करेगी? उसका क्या काम है? सरकार से revenue office में. That's literally what we hear. औरत के नाम से वे क्या ही करेंगे? ये रेवेन्यू विभाग के लोग खुद बोलते हैं. और मैंने खुद देखा है कोई महिला अपना केस कुछ भी समस्या लेकर रेवेन्यू ऑफिस में जाती है, अगर रेवेन्यू ऑफिसर के पास, तो चलो बाद में आना. She doesn't feel like कोई वहाँ पे घुसने के लिए ही इतना पुरुषों का जमावड़ा है, उस लाइन को पार करके अपने एक अधिकारी तक पहुँचना एक औरत के लिए बहुत बड़ी समस्या है. उस परिवेश में, उस इकोसिस्टम में ये महिलाएं सर्विसेज खाली औरतों को नहीं पहुँचाती, आदमियों को भी पहुँचाती हैं, और वो भी इनका खाते हैं. एक बात. और दूसरा कह लो जो मुझे और भी ज़्यादा खूबसूरत लगता है, वो ये देख के लगता है कि वेस्ट बंगाल में जो पूरे रेवेन्यू ऑफिशियल्स हैं, they have learned to listen to women, and they know how to invite them and how to empathize with them and how to offer services to them, because they have been engaged in conducting trainings of these very women. They are the block level revenue officials are collaborating day in and day out with women who sit at the Sangha Facilitation Center. So they know what women need and how do they need to provide these services to women. And Pinaki will correct me if I cite the number wrong, but 10 years जब 2010 और 11 में एग्रीकल्चर सेंसस का जो डेटा है वो बताता है कि 3.5% of women in West Bengal had agricultural land ownership, but some of the latest provisional figures tell that in West Bengal it has come to 21.6, something like that. 15 साल के अंदर इतना बड़ा बदलाव कैसे हो सकता है? सिर्फ ऐसे कि महिलाएं खुद वो सर्विसेज ऑफर कर रही हैं और वो लोगों को इतनी आसान. तो this is the beauty of the model that I see, and that is why I wish that what we have done in West Bengal, there are more states who get interested into doing similar kinds of things. Women everywhere have the similar kinds of spirit, similar kind of potential, similar kind of aspirations.
मैत्री आपका क्या सपना है? सर please allow me. मैत्री आपका क्या सपना है? What is your dream?
I think for their development, if the opportunity can be given to the women, and of course the collaboration of the government and the willingness of themselves. So this whole approach can lead to them to gain the success in real life and be empowered.
Excellent. Sir, I would like to ask you one specific question to you. That the whole land administration is nowadays known for outsourcing a lot of services to the private entities, and that's how. Being a land activist, we have a big fight with the land administration department. But here, this whole model of the West Bengal or the Maharashtra, what we are keep listening is about the resourcing the land administration with the through community-based organization or civil society organization or some other community-led initiatives. So, how you see the future of this kind of initiatives? Are we really able to influence the other states, or it's just with the Bengal and Maharashtra?
So, history with Bengal is slightly different with respect to empowerment of women. So that has one legacy. Maharashtra obviously also also has similar awareness. Andhra Pradesh has very big SHG movement. So in all these states where women have already been empowered a little bit at least through other programs, they feel confident that this will be possible for them. But then from the government side, I will tell that government needs to be more proactive in two things. First, making the land administration demystified. Because why should we require, irrespective of whoever is handling the chaos, why should they require somebody who can go to the chaos? The idea should be that if you have an internet connection, and if I, from the government side, make the system and processes so simple that even mobile I can do it, it will be more democratization, isn't it? Obviously, spreading the knowledge and processes relating to land and being aware gives a lot of power, especially to women, and that is welcome. But from the government side, I think we need to re-engineer the processes that we follow now, demystify it, put all the data in public so that whoever gets hold of the data plays with it, thinks about it, and comes back with demand. I think from the government side, they should be the approach.
Yeah. Sorry, sir. You want to say something?
No, this has also changed the dynamism within the family. Once the women knows about land and assert their right, their status in the household has increased many times. This is a very important aspect we have not discussed. How basically oriented towards land rights and things have also changed their gender gap in the household domain. It's a very critical thing for women. Very, very important.
Pinaki, any concluding statement?
I think NRLM identified it as one of the best state innovation, and NRLM, I made a presentation before the NRLM authority, and they asked me, why don't you spread out to other states? The same concept. I said, Nita Kejriwal was, I said, ma'am, can you just send a few communications to the states that there can be, or when you are having a meeting in Delhi, so I can make a presentation. Let the states who are interested come forward and ask, okay, you please come, our field is open.
Another thing, can it be advocated with the respective state government? They have to buy it.
Right.
You can only advocate as IRDC or
Right.
whatever it is.
Right.
No, who will do this advocacy?
Right.
He did excellently with the
Exactly.
department
Exactly.
and got it done. It's a personal equation with
Right.
all their connection to the
Right.
government. But I find this a critical gap. Who will advocate and convince the government? They are, many of them are very excellent officers. They want to get things done.
Right.
But the synergy between two departments, one who provides on the
Yeah.
ground, one who controls land of documents and agrees that yes, we'll open up.
Right.
These advocacy is very
Right.
important.
So if there's any no further question, then
Not like, can you explain the 3% to the 21% women ownership within 10 years? I mean, how did that happen?
yeah. So let's take the another question and then I'll ask.
Yeah, very close to, I mean, answer I have already received, but the thing is that there are, I mean, Pinakida was also for some time he was, associated with Orissa program where Gandhi was working. So during that time also we have, initiated this program like land access program in collaboration with Orissa Agro Mission. The problem is that what we feel, you see the revenue department is operating in a different entity, and then here the Orissa Agro Mission is operating under the Panchayat Raj Department. So what happened, there is no, kind of synchronization or kind of collaboration between the two departments. But we need to have that kind of advocacy at the state level so that we can implement that. It's a very good, model, I would say.
It's a matter of chance and considered.
Yeah, and it needs to be replicated in the other states because the kind of information we are accessing at the community level, that is very much required at this point of time, because land is a very complicated subject and people are unaware about what happened with my land, over is the boundary, what of, and there are a lot of things. So we need to, I would definitely request Pinakida again to have a presentation to the, new state government, and if you can do something in Odisha.
So
Thank you so much.
Pinaki is in high demand now.
Yeah, definitely. But it was not earlier also.
Right. So friends, please allow me to conclude because we have another session and we are keep getting around. So when I was a part of the Land Reforms Commission in 2008-9 and then further in 2011 to 2013, we were the one who actually given a very specific suggestion because in the panchayat level there are 7-8 committees responsible for irrigation, responsible for health or education or this and that. Where is the land committee? The resources. You have it. But in the central India, is seriously missing. In Madhya Pradesh, in Uttar Pradesh, there is no land committee per se at the panchayat level. I'm not talking about the district level. I'm talking about the panchayat level. So here, that was a specific suggestion that the resources that all people have in the village level, why there is no committee as such to protect not just individual land but the commons land also. Because the common land, the protection for the common land is, no one is actually responsible at the village level. That's how there's a huge grab of common land in each and every part of India. And our suggestion was very specific. Let's constitute a women-led committee at the panchayat level to control and own the common property land and common property resources. The second point I would like to bring here, please go and to see a very interesting experiment which was done in Warangal a few years back. It's called Warangal experiment, and the lady who did it, Karuna, she is the one who actually architected the whole Operation Rayyat Bandhu later in Telangana. What she did is very simple. She put all Patwari's land records in the school board. Let's open all the land records in the school board so that everyone can come and to see where their land is exists, what are the total, what are the parcel number, and what are the total acreage of land, and who is occupied this land or that land. So by doing this, she actually involved the district legal services authority, and with the help of the district legal services authority and this experiment, she declared Warangal district as a zero land conflict district. Believe that area, the district which was known for a lot of bad reason in the past, now it's free from all sorts of a big land conflict here. So similar to your West Bengal, so there is a lot of interesting lighthouse from where we can go and we can learn a lot. The last thing I would like to say here that the whole, especially sir, the whole Yeshta experiment actually brings again very interesting dimension of the people-led process, because still we have a lot of mistrust of the existing land revenue department. But sorry to say, and this is completely off the record, not to quote, the revenue department is one of the most corrupt departments everywhere, right? And sleeping department which is virtually sleeping, not acting on the ground and not providing land to the poor people, not actually really providing any services to resolve the land conflict. So this process, the community-led process and integration and alignment with the existing land department as well as the livelihood department is actually a very, very interesting example how we can learn from the Maharashtra model and the West Bengal model and to take it to the other level. And finally, what you said is very important because we need some strong advocates. So I would like to request Landesha to produce a good document, good amount of documents with like a successful case studies or maybe good film or any quality material which we can share to our respective land departments in other states and invite and motivate the land administration system. So friends, I would like to conclude the session here and thanks for attending this session and please have a round of applause for all. Thank you.